You know, it's not often when I tell you to flood to the theaters, but this movie is a must watch for every single person in America. Teens, tweens, take your kids to see the Young Washington movie coming out on July 3rd. As the nation marks 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, this film arrives as a timely reminder that those founding principles came from real people who chose to lead for something greater than themselves. Before he was the father of a nation, he was a soldier fighting to survive. A single misstep thrusts young George Washington into the center of a global conflict, testing his honor, loyalty, and courage. As alliances crumble and the frontier erupts into war, he must confront not only his enemies, but the man he's becoming. This is the untold story of young Washington.
George, there's no fairness here.
That is not the way the world works. Then someone should remake it.
Choose your path. Make it yours.
Forward!
And prove them wrong.
Dietrich Hoogstraten is a screenwriter, author, and journalist. Born and raised in the Netherlands, he received his master's degree from Columbia University's Journalism School in New York. Dietrich is passionate about his love for America and was drawn to the story of young Washington, now to be a feature film releasing once again on July 3. Get your tickets ahead of time. It will sell out. Dietrich is married to Kelly Merriman Hoogstraten, the CEO of the Wonder Project, and they live in Austin with their 3 kids. This is the Counterculture Mom Show. I'm your host, Tina Griffin. Theme of the week is celebrating America's 250th birthday. I'm with Dietrich Hoogstraten, screenwriter for Young Washington. How you doing today, Dietrich?
I am great. It's good to see you again, Tina, and thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. I met you in person at this panel that you had here in Nashville, Tennessee about a month ago. Our whole family came to check this out, and we thought we were going to watch the whole film. And my kids are like, where's the movie? And I'm telling you, it was a blessing in disguise because you and your co-writer, Tom, brought John Irwin's vision to life with this movie. And my kids, got to hear the behind the scenes of the making of the movie. Way more special even to get into the mix of seeing the movie itself. It brought a lot to the forefront. And then, of course, last night, we're taping this early, all of us got to see that movie along with like half of our subdivision. We threw them in the van, brought them over. You did a phenomenal job captivating what happened 250 years ago. What was it like writing that script?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. You're among the very first to see this movie, and it's so amazing and gratifying to hear that it resonated with you, that it rang true. You know, I know we both have this profound and deep love for this country and for its principles. So to know that someone like you appreciates and gets it is very special. Thank you for that. You know, I wrote this 3 years ago with my co-writer Tom for John Irwin. John Irwin had a very clear vision, the director, for what he wanted to do. He'd walked around with his story for years. He wanted to do 2 things, 2 epic stories: House of David, the show that you may have seen and your audience surely knows about, and the coming of age of George Washington as a young man. And so we got to work on that 3 years ago, around the time he was also starting the Wonder Project with my wife, as it happened. So Kelly and John were starting a company, and the first thing we did was write this movie together. It was an incredible opportunity for me. I can tell you a little bit about my background if we get to that, but I will just say that my love for this country and my interest in its history sort of just coalesced and came together and allowed me to, really lean in and learn so much myself. There isn't that much known about this guy. And then to do it by the side of one of the great filmmakers of this time, John Irwin, it was just a gift for me.
Well, I like I told you when we're doing pre-show setup, I would have loved to have even been one of the people shot on that set in those scenes because you could just see history coming to life. And by watching your movie, even my 12-year-old daughter, Stella, along with myself, she got done watching the movie, running up to me, "Mom, I was almost falling out of my movie seat. Like I was literally almost falling into the aisle because I was finding myself leaning into the screen." I said, "Stella, the same thing was happening to me. I have chills from head to toe right now saying that out loud." I felt like I was there. And growing up and working in Hollywood for a decade, I look at, are the times the same on the clocks on the walls? Is the cup of water in the same spot? Is there consistency throughout? Are they wearing the right clothing? Did they mess up in some way? Not that I'm purposely looking for that, but my eyes catch it right away. There was nothing. I was literally feeling like I was there when this reality happened a couple hundred
Mm.
years ago. I was lost in it. And so many movies today, it's a movie and not real life. I felt like it was real life. It was so well done. So Stella's like, Mom, I felt like I was falling out of my chair. Um, you guys brought that to life. Stellar job. Now, let's just nail out your accent. I can tell by your accent, you're obviously not Texas native, doing line dancing since the age of 3. So, where were you born? And even though you live there today, what's it been like from your journey from your birthplace to America?
Yeah, thanks for that question. It's always fun. I always say, my kids are of the age now where they started to make fun of my accent because they are Texans. They wear cowboy boots. Um, I was born and raised in Holland. Had good reasons to get out of there. I won't go into it, but I definitely wanted to get away. And America had a pull on me. I really, and probably a God thing, right? I can say that on this show. There was something about America. And I'll tell you, as a kid, I watched shows like Family Ties, Alex P. Keaton. To me, that was not just America, it was also a Reagan loving Republican conservative young guy who was cool as well. Very contrary to what I was learning and ingesting and hearing around me in Western Europe, which was basically socialist at the time and still to an
Yep.
extent is. So when I had an opportunity to be an exchange student in upstate New York back in the 90s, I took that opportunity, fell in love instantly when I actually got there. Really, I haven't looked back. I ended up ultimately at Columbia University at the journalism school there, graduated there, spent a number of years working as a journalist in New York, then in Los Angeles.
Oh,
So you and I
wow.
may have, in fact, overlapped. It's possible. When you were acting, that I was a reporter there. I actually was, for a little while, I was member of the infamous Hollywood Foreign Press Association, behind the
So
Golden
wild.
Globes. So I
Yes.
got to vote for the Globes. And it's relevant because I started to read a lot of screenplays at that time. There were some excellent ones. As you know, there are great writers in Hollywood. There were also submissions for those Golden Globes where I was like, I wonder if I could do that better. And so what I ended up is doing, with the support of my incredible wife, sort of finding a little mid-career change there. I took some classes at Pepperdine University,
So
one of
funny.
the most beautiful campuses, right, in the
Yes.
world. Met my now co-writer, collaborator, Tom Provost there. He was my professor. Learned the craft, and again, haven't looked back. I became a screenwriter. At the time, I'd been married to Kelly for a few years. We lived in LA, and our kids were born there. To fast forward quickly, COVID happened, or as I say, the response to COVID happened.
Yes.
And in California, your audience won't be surprised at all to hear that many of us, including us, said, no more. This is it. This is the last straw, the final push we needed. And Kelly is from Texas. She grew up in Houston. She had gone to UT. She knew Austin very well. And so it was an easy decision for us to come to Austin about 5 years ago. And, here we are. It's been a true blessing. We love this place, love Texas, love everything about it, to be honest. And I love seeing my kids being raised in the Texas culture, not the California one.
Wow. Wow. Are you now wearing your cowboy boots and going line dancing at Billy Bob's?
You know, I should really. I do love barbecue. My friend Caleb has taken me boot shopping, so I do have some boots.
That's so
I'm
funny.
I still prefer my sneakers, but I have them.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. Well, who knows what's going to happen next for your next project on the hit list? You might need those cowboy boots, and now you're all prepared, or at least your kids will be ready to rock and
Yes.
roll. With everything going on in the economy right now, I keep thinking about how many families have done everything right. Working for decades, saving, building something for their future, not just for themselves, but for their kids, their spouse, the people they love. And yet so much of that is still tied to a system that feels more and more out of our control. And that's the part that concerns me, because this isn't just about money, it's about protecting your family. That's why more people are starting to look at ways to protect a portion of what they've built outside of that system. Things like physical gold. I've been working with Augusta Precious Metals because they take an education-first approach. They walk you through how it works and help you decide if it's even right for you. No pressure. Check out this #1 rated company at goldwithmom.com or text Tina to 35052 and get your free gold IRA guide. That's goldwithmom.com. It's a simple way to take a step toward protecting what you've worked so hard to build. For over 6 years, I've been sounding the alarm regarding the dangers of EMF exposure, primarily coming from the towers that were implemented during the pandemic. I've interviewed countless experts on the show that confirm my research. Besides harmful 5G radiation, we are constantly bombarded with EMF exposure from Wi-Fi routers, smartphones, laptops, smart appliances, all contributing to massive sleep issues, headaches, fatigue, nausea, dizziness, brain fog, heart palpitations, and even increased cancer risk. I've been using 2 WaveGuard devices for over 6 years. I have the Key Home, which gives me whole home protection, and the Key Shield when I'm on the go. WaveGuard uses depolarization technology to significantly reduce EMF radiation without blocking your Wi-Fi or cell signal. Protect your family now. Use code TINA at checkout to save 20% off all devices at waveguard.com. That's waveguard.com, code TINA.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and the team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Hey, I'm Corey Heppola, and a long time ago, I left my small town for a big city. Now, I wonder, what would it be like to move rural?
Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't have nice things.
So, I'm traveling to different small towns across the Midwest to find out.
It's like every year in the spring, there's always like a revitalization of just excitement.
This is my town.
Oh, jeez!
Sunday night, 6:30 on BEK TV.
I think people know the name Washington, but very few people know about this adventure in the early part of his life that shaped the later part of his life that people do know about.
This story kind of abandons all that folklore and mythology about George Washington and gets to the heart of who George Washington is and how he really began.
When these legends become these like legendary figures, I think it's very easy to see them as, you know, these bulletproof, emotionless statues of people. And I think what's interesting, especially in this film, is to see the vulnerability and how he is human.
So I love taking a character that people know, but telling an unknown story within that character's life. And so this story is full of adventure, and he's young, and it's his first love, and there's romance. And I've always thought of it as like Pride and Prejudice meets The Revenant.
Because I think, I mean, you look at these legends and you go, there's no way I could ever do that. But there is that humanity in them, and it just shows that everyone, given the ability and strength, can complete things in their life and become great.
Going to the Young Washington movie, what drew you to that story? How were you asked to do that project with Tom? And then what was it like writing a story about our founding father?
Yes. I'll quickly describe how, I'd known John Irwin a little bit from his beautiful earlier movies, and I'd met him a couple of times in person because Kelly was starting their company with him. Once he brought this up, he had this brilliant idea. He said, let's spend a lot of hours together where we basically download what's in my brain. That's what John said. Let's get on paper what I really envision. And so Tom, John, and I did that. And we got, it's a privilege. I mean, truly, to spend a few days, many, many hours with John Irwin, just learning what he's thinking about this particular guy, the young George Washington. And so that's a little bit about the process. Then Tom and I went away and went to write it. To me, history, I've always loved history, but it's usually dry, right? It's letters in a book, it's words, historians can be terrific writers, but it's still really hard to bring history to life.
Yes.
Once I realized what young George had gone through in the 1750s, I thought, well, this story does need to be told. And the medium for it is film. Like, bring it to life. Let us show the audience, especially young people, what this kid had to go through long before anybody would have thought of him as a great leader, let alone someone who would change the country and the world.
It was so encouraging. And I thought of all of my kids differently while watching that movie last night. And there was so many unbelievable ideas kind of exploding in my head all at the same time, which I loved because it gave me a lot of great ideas to now execute on after leaving the theater. But of how our kids are so gifted differently. And yet some of my kids I know are struggling with, what do I have to offer the world? Or I messed up with schooling for the last year. I'm falling behind in XYZ, or I don't excel like my other brother or sister. And the fact that George Washington went through so many things that were stacked against him, and he kept rising to the occasion, saying, I know that I can do this. Even a couple lines where he said, I wish you would have believed in me. It ripped my heart out because I'm like, am I telling my kids I believe in them enough? Do they think they can't excel? The financial pressure that we want to send one of our kids to flight school and he can't go to flight school yet. And he's 17. He made 5 comments in the last year. Mom, I really want to start flight school. And I feel like I'm holding him back in a way that I can't control. And yet George Washington, all 4 kids were watching that thinking if he could go through all that and became the first president of the United States where he couldn't go to the school that he wanted, and we know everything else that unraveled in that movie, it encouraged my kids so much. I could tell when they left the theater, God, with God, anything is possible. That movie, hands down, was one of the best historic films I have literally ever seen. And for my kids to leave a theater to say that changed my life, it's so rare to have them physically change when they leave a theater. When that movie was done, I left a little bit frustrated because I told Luke, what? It's done? I could have watched 2 more hours of that. So then I said to my husband, did John purposely set that up the way he set it up to do a part 2? Because I want him to pump out a part 2 from the moment it ended, which was phenomenal, to another chapter of George Washington's life, because I'm so in love with our first president after watching that movie.
Man, I now have chills and tears in my eyes because to hear that young people relate to what George went through. And, we're not suggesting that he was 7 years old and he found his calling and boom, fast forward to, the first president of the United States. No, it was a miserable journey for much of the time. And that's what this movie is trying to show. It was not fun and games for this man. And hopefully people will feel inspired by a figure like that being relatable, being similar to them.
It was so relatable. And there is a scene where, I don't want to give too much away because everybody has to go see it, but there was a fort that needed to be burned down. I'll just say that. And watching that movie, the way all of you shot that, wrote that, and how it came to life, I was thinking in perspective again, in a typical movie, it would not show the details that John put into that. The silhouette, how he knelt at the grave, it literally, I was choking up by how he demonstrated the feeling going on with young Washington while looking at the grave of his friend. It was so well done. From even a technical camera standpoint, point of view, lighting, flames, people feeling defeated, all of it. The music, it was so well done. Okay. Let's go straight to a little curveball question. You said resilience. You talked about 3 critical things missing in America today for our young world changers. And that's where my heart has always been, youth ministry for almost 3 decades, speaking around this globe about letting them know our youth in America, their identity is not what they've done in the past, what happened to them, or the junk that Hollywood is trying to pump out through the Hollywood Hills. It is in Christ. So how can they use their giftings to glorify God? And literally, if they cling to that, and you know this as well as I do, if they get their calling, you can see what they can do as a result for the Lord, as what George Washington did. So resilience was one thing you talked about on the panel with Tom that was so well done. And if you want to say anything else to that, go for it. What were the other 2 qualities missing in America that we must get and teach our children to grasp onto so they can do great things for God?
I believe it begins with resilience in your mind, in your heart, with God on your side. But then what we try to show in this movie, that George discovers that he has, and we all do, a God-given integrity. What do you do when you fail? Sure, you get up, and that's resilience. But also, do you accept consequences? So, as you know, you've seen the movie, and I won't give anything away. But there's a couple of moments where George could have made a different decision, could have put ego first, as politicians these days tend to do, I believe.
Do, yes.
Right, and of course, he wasn't a politician yet. He was serving in the military. He was serving Virginia. But George showed us the early signs of integrity, of accepting the costs of his decisions, if you will. And that standing by what you've done and accepting what it means if you break a promise, or if you do fall, or if your mistakes get others in trouble, to put it mildly. So that's number 2. And then the key point I think that we leave the movie with is service. This idea of servant leadership that George learns over the course of this movie. He's, just for the audience, he's a young boy when we see him first, like 7, 8 years old, 9 maybe. And then we end it when he's 22, 23 years old. So during that time of growing up, he discovers what it means to serve, not just himself, not just his family, but his men, his country, if you will. At the time, it was Virginia, and of course God as well. So this idea of service flowing from being resilient, finding integrity, and acting with integrity, to then practice all of that as you serve, genuinely serve, even if you're called to lead, or especially if you're called to lead.
Take some kids from across the street in your neighborhood, load up those vans, tell people to go check it out. We're going to talk about the Pay It Forward program you've got and how we can get our hands on tickets and become an Angel Guild member today. So more with Dietrich right after this. We all know how critical sleep is, yet I've had major sleep issues for years. I just discovered Wave Watch, and I'm finally sleeping through the night. The Wave Watch is a wearable device that delivers hundreds of sound frequencies throughout your body, supporting your body's natural systems. Did you know that each living thing vibrates at a unique frequency? And modern research shows nerve impulses may actually be sound-based. The Wave Watch emits gentle sound waves through your wrist that can help reduce physical discomfort, boost circulation, improve focus, support immune function, and enhance sleep quality. So if you're ready to move from fatigue and fog to clarity and calm, go to wavewatch.com, use code TINA at checkout, and get $100 off. That's code TINA for $100 off at wavewatch.com. No pills, no supplements, but 146 specialized frequency sets to combat your biggest health issues. Try it risk-free and feel the difference.
Every day in Nigeria, Christians are hunted, villages burned, families torn apart. And while many talk about the problem, few are willing to step into it. That's where Equipping the Persecuted is different. We are not a mission of awareness. We are a mission of action. Within 48 hours of a terror attack, we are on the ground, delivering food, medical care, protection, standing with those the world has forgotten. Since 2019, we've helped over 500,000 persecuted Christians. We support over 1,000 widows every month. We train and equip village security teams, saving lives before attacks even happen. Others report the crisis. We run toward it. When evil shows up at their doorstep, we can make sure they are not standing alone. For just over $1 a day, you can stand with the persecuted. Go to equippingthepersecuted.org or call now 1-833-933-4059. That's 1-833-933-4059.
Everybody out there, you have to get your hands on some tickets, but here's what's cool. If you sign up as an Angel Guild member today, just go to angel.com/Tina G. That's angel.com/Tina G. Sign up as a member if you're not an Angel Guild member now, and you get 2 free tickets to watch this phenomenal Young Washington movie. Once again, coming out on July 3. However, you also have a Pay It Forward program that I saw last night that was phenomenal. Tell us more about that.
This is a great idea that I think, Angel Studios does this often. Wonder Project, the co-producer, supports this wholeheartedly. There's 5 million high school students in the United States. We want all of them to experience history in this way. So what you can do is pay it forward either on the Angel website. It's very, very clear where you click, or in the movie theater. Once you're there, you scan that code, you pay it forward, you buy tickets that go to high school students who then have a free ticket to go see this movie, to experience history in the way that we all believe it can be and should be experienced.
Absolutely. And you can see so much on there. The trailer, watch it with your friends and family so you can all sign up and get tickets, become Angel Guild members. Once again, by going to angel.com/Tina G. Sign up, search for Young Washington, and find out all the ticket show times, theaters, and get your tickets. This movie will sell out. I know it. July 3 is when it is released in theaters nationwide. It will sell out. It is a movement that we are seeing happen. The time is ripe. Let's get that harvest. Save our country, all of us banding together. Dietrich, excellent quality work. If you ever need someone shot at in some scene in a movie in the future, call on me. Blood and guts, not a big deal. I'm all yours if it's going to create a movement like this is. I want to be a part of that. You rock.
Hold your ground! There is no retreat!
What are you called?
My name is George Washington.
There's never been a better time to rediscover the style, reliability, and all-season, all-terrain fun of the all-new Nissan lineup at the new and improved Ryan Nissan. Whether it's the sleek and stylish Murano, the adventure-ready Pathfinder, or the reimagined, ready-for-anything 2026 Rogue, the all-new Ryan Nissan has the vehicle of your dreams at a price perfect for any budget. It's time to rediscover your passion for the road. It's time to rediscover the all-new Ryan Nissan, engineered to endure.
Welcome to where classy meets Wild West. Buffalo Gypsy Boutique of Bismarck has clothing, decor, and gifts ranging from sophisticated boho style to fun and flashy. Our exclusive brands such as Scully, Double D Ranch, and Tanner Mark provide standout style for the whole family, right down to the little ones. We always have a great selection of Kimes denim, and we proudly offer American-made jewelry and artwork. Find Buffalo Gypsy classing up North Bismarck just off Highway 83.
Let's be frank, it's a pain to be without your vehicle after an accident. That's why you should take it to Jerome's Collision Center. Our shop is supersized and we have the qualified staff to fill it up and work on your vehicle, step by step, piece by piece, in crazy fast time without sacrificing quality. When you need us, we'll turn your bad experience into a good one. We're Jerome's Collision Center and we're the best at what we do.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
Hey, I'm Corey Heppola, and a long time ago, I left my small town for a big city. Now, I wonder, what would it be like to move rural?
Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't have nice things.
So, I'm traveling to different small towns across the Midwest to find out.
Oh. No, it's like every year in the spring, there's always like a revitalization of just excitement.
This is my town.
Oh, jeez.
Sunday night, 6:30 on BEK